Hey everyone who is around. I am super pumped to be sharing this training with you. So let me just see if I can tag you all in this. Oh, I don't know where I went. Okay. All right, let me see if I can tag you all and see if y'all are around. You can join me. And we are going to be talking about how to stop searching everywhere for love and instead start receiving it. And this is relevant whether you are in a relationship, whether you're not in a relationship. This also has a huge impact on your business, your career, whatever you are doing currently for work. And of course, this impacts your relationships with friends, with clients, with family. I am just tagging you all, so I'm having a hard time speaking and typing. So give me 1 second. All right. Alrighty, my friends. Okay, perfect. All right, so if you have ever felt like you're in the place where a lot of your focus is on, making yourself better, looking for different programs, different courses, maybe reading a bunch of, self-help books, relationship books, communication, marketing, business mindset books, money books, all the good stuff out there. And that's nothing wrong with all of that. But when you're noticing this pattern of this constant searching outside of you for something that can only come from within. So, how I see it is that we are often searching for love and we look for love in our work and in our relationships. And this keeps us in the cycle, especially when it comes to work, because there's so much pressure as women, as entrepreneurs, to really, have it all together, to have an amazing career, to have an amazing relationship, have an amazing body, have an amazing lifestyle and friendship. And all of that outside of us is what we equate to. That's what will make us feel loved. Having a great career, having amazing lifestyle, having all these things, external things, we use that as a way to validate our worthiness and our value because we're not getting it from within. And we do the same thing with relationships with men. We think having, a man that loves us, then that will, finally prove that we're worthy and valuable. So again, it's a skewed perspective because the searching is constantly externally focused. And what that leads to, and you may have experienced this, is frustration, especially in careers and in business when you've enrolled in different courses, worked with different coaches, done different programs, read all the books, and notice you're not progressing in the way that you had hoped, and you're not seeing as much change as you'd hoped. And this is true as well for relationships, that maybe you've done a lot of work on yourself so that you could be open up to a different kind of relationship or deep in the relationship you have, and you're noticing you're just not having that breakthrough that you really desire. So when you're in that place where you're frustrated, you feel overwhelmed because you don't really know what else you can do because you feel like you've done it all, yet you're still second guessing, you're still in a place of a lot of doubt, and there's still some fear around trust yourself and God, and that everything is going to work out and somehow it's going to be okay. So that's where I want to come to you from is welcome. I've been there. And it's okay. And it's pretty normal to be in this place because if you look around you, all of society is telling you that you need a better job, you need a better relationship, you need a better body, you need a better home, a better car. You just are not okay the way you are, basically. And that keeps all of us stuck in the cycle of constantly searching outside of us to fix us, which means we're constantly coming from a place of thinking that something is wrong with us and something's broken. And when you're constantly in that state of healing, working on yourself and self-improvement, you're never allowing yourself to integrate and really understand who it is that you are. And that keeps you in that perpetual state of seeking. And when you're constantly seeking to fix something, what is happening to your brain is that your brain thinks there must be something else out there to fix. So you're never going to get to a place where you feel like you're just okay. The things are good, that you're progressing, because your mind is fixed on there must be something else to fix. There must be something else to do. So you will find something else that doesn't work, and you will find evidence where you're broken, even though you're not. And that's exactly where I want to talk to you from that place, because there is a new way, a different way to do this. So you can get out of that cycle of searching and investing and continuously working on yourself, and allow yourself to be receiving love from a very different perspective. So how do you do this? Well, first of all, it's understanding your own thinking, right? Understanding that it's challenging when you've been trained and programmed to think that you have to keep searching. You have to keep, there's something out there. There's maybe the next coach, maybe the next program, maybe the next book, maybe the next therapist, like something out there is going to fix you. And so it's hard to break that pattern until you can come back to a place of learning to really see yourself from a different perspective. So first of all, understand, of course, like I said, this is normal. So part of this is coming from a place of criticism, that why can't you figure it out, and why have you done all these things, and why is it still not fixed? Instead of coming from that place, come from the place of shifting. And this is what I do with my clients, is guiding you to step outside of yourself and learn to see yourself from a higher perspective. So you can break that cycle of thinking it's the next program, it's the next coach, it's the next course, it's the next book, and really start to see who you are from a higher perspective. Because who you are from a higher perspective is not a person that's broken, is not a person that needs fixing. So that's the first step. And once you start to really shift this perspective, instead of searching outside of you for the answer, to really go within, and this doesn't mean you're going to become super introspective and you're going to have to do a ton of mindset work and shadow work and inner child work. None of that is necessary, because that also keeps you in the loop of trying to fix something. And we're breaking that pattern here. And how we break that pattern is to release the attachment of your identity to a label. So we often label ourselves as our career, as our role in the family, as our, even some of our characteristics sometimes. And so you want to let go of that attachment that you have to be a coach, you have to be a counselor, you have to be a wife, you have to be a girlfriend, you have to be successful, you have to be rich. So letting go of all of those and learning, and this is what I would guide you to in my program, in my mentorship, is to separate yourself from all of that, because all of that is of this world, and all of that is temporary, and all of that is really meaningless, to be honest with you. Because when you shift to see yourself from a higher perspective, that's when you see who you truly are and what really matters. And how you do this, I'll walk you through this, is that I guide you back to, what is your core story? What is the defining moment that really, that was the breaking point, and how you decided this is the way the world was. This is who you thought you were based on what was happening in your life at that time. Usually this happens in, 7 years old, around between, I would say 4 to 7 years old, somewhere around there, those really defining moments in our childhood, really impressionable time in our childhood, where we're trying to make sense of the world. And then we make sense of the world, of course, the best we can as children, but it's a skewed perspective, because as children, we don't know how the world works. And so we start to take on all these identities, and we start to form all these beliefs about ourselves and about what is possible for us based on, usually it's one defining moment or small defining moments that lead up to how you decided this is the way the world is, and this is the way you are, and this is the way it's going to be for you. And you carry that forever until you learn to break it. And, there have been people in their 70s and 80s that are still holding that core story and haven't learned to break it. And it's just isn't a destructive force. It really affects your relationships with yourself first and primarily. And that, of course, is what affects your relationships with others. And it affects your work. It affects the kind of work that you do and affects how successful you are in your work. So, what we do is we go back to that defining moment, that core story, and explore, what are the beliefs that you created out of that moment? And what did you make it mean about you in the world and what was possible for you? And I guide you to really begin to look at that. Again, we're looking at that story from an objective, higher perspective so that you can start to see what was the gift in that defining moment? How did it shape you? How did it set you on a specific trajectory and put you on a very defined path to study certain things, to take certain jobs, to be in certain relationships, and to have very specific experiences? How did it then, you'll start to see as we do this work, guide you in developing certain gifts? How did it form your skills and abilities? And what you'll start to notice then is how that is exactly what you need to excel and thrive in a way that comes naturally to you. Because once you start to break that negative association and allow yourself to see who you truly are beyond the story that you created from that defining moment, you start to discover how it doesn't have to be so hard, and how all of this time you've been holding yourself back from being who you truly are and expressing yourself as you're meant to. And as you do this, what you'll start to notice is you'll start to feel confident and courageous and taking off all the masks, that you don't have to be the perfect coach, the perfect career woman, the perfect wife, the perfect friend, have the perfect house, have the perfect financial situation, lifestyle, whatever it is. And you allow yourself for the first time, perhaps in your life, to have an enormous amount of freedom in being who you are created to be, which is so much bigger than what you could ever imagine. Because what we're going to do is allow yourself to see yourself through God's eyes and who He says is true about you versus what the world says about you and what you say about you, which is also not true. And once you start to do this, a huge internal shift happens. I mean, your heart is going to open in bigger ways than you've ever even imagined. And an experience of gratitude that you have never experienced before is going to happen, because you'll start to notice everything is as it is meant to be. And as you step into that place of very intentional gratitude and very intentional awareness about who God says you are, your heart opens up, which then I lead you through going deeper into forgiveness in a way that you've probably not experienced before, because we tend to hold back on really, really, really forgiving, starting with ourselves, and then all the other people, all the other situations that we've held on to that again have contributed to keeping us stuck. So we're able to heal the past and release all the people who have had some energetic hold on us that have kept us from really expressing ourselves as we're meant to, and stepping into being the bold leaders that we're meant to be as feminine spiritual leaders. And as you do this, you'll notice the anxiety just fades away, the pressure fades away. You'll come to a place where you feel you can rest. You don't have to be in hustle. You don't have to be in striving. You don't have to be in achieving. There's nothing to prove anymore, because you are as God designed you to be. And as you become more and more who He designed you to be and step into being that woman, what you do will change. How you show up will change. How you are seen will change. And you become incredibly magnetic and attractive, not only to your partner or to prospective partners, but also to clients. To, if you're not in your own business, then you'll be more People will start to come up to you at work and seek you out and want to work with you, want your advice, just want to be around you. Like, that's how amazing this shift is, that you are exuding the love that you are in everything that you do. So, of course, you are incredibly magnetic to everyone around you. And what starts to happen, of course, is when you are that love, of course, you're no longer seeking that love. So you break that cycle of searching, 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 trying to fix something that actually isn't even broken. So as you do this, we go even deeper into really exploring, what are some of the lies that you have agreed to about who you are, and listing them, owning, what that feels like, and letting yourself experience that feeling without having to numb it out, without having to distract yourself, but to own it. And then at the same time, really learning how to bring compassion to yourself for all the lies that you believed about you and that other people told you that you took on that are not true. And as you bring that compassion into yourself, then we start to contrast all the lies with the truth. So we'll create, I have, you sometimes pages of all the things that you thought were true about you from yourself, from others, and then on the other side of the page is what is actually true. What is true from who God says you are? What is true? Because who God is way bigger than who you are, and way bigger than who your family is, your friends, your clients, society, anyone that you have in the past held in high esteem or put their opinion as more valuable, their opinion of you as more valuable than your own opinion of you. And even further, of course, once you look at all of this as who God says you are, of course, his opinion of you is way bigger even than your opinion of you. And of course, way bigger than opinions of others. So you'll start to have this whole list of who you truly are. And we'll work on a spiritual discipline of 6 weeks of really integrating this, embodying this, stepping into this more fully, so you show up more boldly, more courageously, more confidently, speaking more articulately, and really exuding who it is that you are, so that, of course, everything that you have desired that has felt so out of reach and so difficult, you're open to receiving it. And of course, now it can come to you in so many different ways because you're not attached to how it has to come and what it has to look like, because you know, of course, it's going to come, and you're excited to see how it's going to come, and you're not attached to when and what it looks like and the form, but you know you already are an energetic match for it because you are at the highest level of vibration, because you are the experience of what love is. So of course, you're going to receive love in all its different forms, in forms of experiences, in forms of relationships and friendships and clients and money and joy and peace and confidence, in prosperity. Just, there's so many ways to experience it that previously were blocked because of the constant perpetual seeking to fix. So I want to share a story what this looks like with one of my clients. She is just like normal, like all of us, has that, not anymore, had that perspective of there was something wrong and she had to fix it, and had worked with many different, high ticket programs and different coaches, and still really wasn't progressing as she had hoped, and was really struggling as well in her relationship with her boyfriend. So we started working and really shifted deeper into forgiveness and into how she was choosing to see herself from a very limited perspective. And as I guided her to see herself from a higher perspective and really see who she truly is beyond what the world says, her relationship with her boyfriend dramatically changed because she changed. It wasn't that she needed to change anything in her external world. It was being open to being changed from within and allowing God to do that within her and change her heart and her spirit and mind. And she became much more, soft and, attractive to her boyfriend, and more open to new experiences, and more playful and creative. And that energy, of course, had people reaching out to her. She wasn't even promoting her services as a coach, and she had people reaching out to her, asking her to work with them. And this was a huge shift because it was almost like a disruption in her system, that it was all happening with her not having to strive and achieve and have a very defined strategy and have all these things out there and doing. She started to really understand at a deeper level and embody at a deeper level. It was who she was being. As that changed, then of course her situation, her circumstances, her external world started to change to reflect that and bring what she was putting out into her, instead of the other way around, of her trying to think she needed to change everything outside of her in order to get what she really, really wanted, because it was never going to happen until she did the internal work to really become the woman she was designed to be. So super passionate about this. It's so powerful, and it's so very needed, because especially in the online entrepreneur world, there's so much chasing and there's so much competition and there's so much needing to have a certain, specific strategy, blueprint, and unique methodology and all this stuff that is super masculine, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it gets to the point where you're disconnected from yourself. You're disconnected from the fact that you are a divine being created by the creator of the universe. He doesn't make mistakes. So when you're cut off from that, of course you're going to be in a state of, even if you have some success, it's going to feel empty, and it's never going to feel enough. There's always going to be more, and it's always going to feel like this pressure and this anxiety and this stress and this frustration and this wondering and this questioning, instead of coming from a place of rest, of peace, of joy, and creating from that space, because you are supported, you are guided. And so it's really slowing down and going within and allowing yourself to really connect on a deeper level with God, so you can hear his calling, his guidance, and then have the trust within yourself and for God, because a lot of times there is some healing needed even between your relationship with God, of course, because that's always been distorted by what the world says, and our familial relationships tend to distort that as well. But as you heal that, then you start to hear the calling, you start to be more connected to the spirit and to feel confident in taking action based on the spirit's suggestions, the spirit, like intuition telling you, even when like, oh, this doesn't really make sense, you have that trust and confidence that you're going to do it anyway, because you trust it's the right thing, even if it at the time seems like it makes no sense and doesn't feel connected to what you want. You have gotten to the point where you're like, I'm doing it because spirit is guiding me, and I trust spirit, and I trust God, and I trust myself, and I'm gonna see what happens, and no matter what happens, I'm gonna be okay, so here I go. And that's such a different place. It's such a place of creativity, of exploration, of seeking to understand and explore, versus prove and feel like pressure and feel like you have to constantly be hustling and constantly be in a place of criticism and evaluation and judgment, which is what keeps so many people stuck. So if you're ready to break free from all of that, hallelujah, can I get a hallelujah? Reach out to me and let's explore my 60-day mentorship, because it is time for more women to step into their bold heart and really speak what is true for them, and to become the woman that God designed them to be, and to do it with confidence and with clarity and with courage, and to really call in all that they desire by who they are being instead of what they are doing. And to do all of it, when you're doing it, from a place of trust, from a place of peace, from a place of rest, from a place of ease, instead of the hustle, rise, go, slay mentality that is so very common in the entrepreneur world. So if you're ready to break out of that, my friend, this is an invitation for you. So can't wait to hear from you, and let me know your comments, your ahas, your takeaways, and I'll talk to you all again soon.